YouTube? How is everybody doing? Welcome to the third cast of today. This is a double header. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be watching two matches back to back, the 13 and 14 UTC time slots. Here's the deal. What we're going to do for the pre-match, like we always do during the double headers, what we're going to do is we're going to start talking first about the second match and then transition into the first match, and then from there, go watch the first match and get into the second right after. So starting off from the back, we're looking at Group E. This is Group F, I'm sorry. We're looking at Group F right here, NB versus AoC. NB1 going up against the mighty that is AoC. These two alliances, NB1 being one of the strongest alliances, one of the alliances that's most established with one of the bigger families of Kingdom 103, against one of the most known alliances in the game, hosting two content creators within it, including one of our own, Dragothian, who, as you can see, is not going to be casting with me on this doubleheader. It is going to be Chiskel, and we have a brand new caster who's going to join me on the second slot, on the 14 UTC time slot. That is right, Shinchi42 will be joining us for his first cast, so it'll be very exciting. He's been casting on his channel a little bit as well, but on the Osiris League, it'll be his first time, and we're gonna have a very exciting match. Here's the thing. First and foremost, the betting for this was kind of crazy. People really thinking NB1 are gonna stomp AoC, take AoC out, and AoC already having a loss from last week's Osiris League results, meaning that potentially this could be a very disastrous match for AoC. A lot of people are already counting them out, but I think that is a huge mistake. As much as AoC could have these big name players in it, the most established content creator in Rise of Kingdoms and Dragothian within it, as well as a huge, very loyal set of our four players, of our three core players who have been playing together for so long. These guys are super dialed in, and I think NB1 are not going to have as easy of a time as this thinks they will have. Now, if we take a look at the teams very quickly, we have NB1 right here, 2.7 billion power strong, and yeah, they've had a pretty easy time going through everything and anything. In their last match last week, they had a pretty easy time. Not the easiest of times. They've kept up with their same numbers, 7,000 points to the opposition at all times. They did drop a little bit of points in the beginning here and picked it up, and then back to the 69,000s. Very solid alliance. One of the strongest alliances and part of a big family in Kingdom 103. These guys are no joke. They include some of the bigger, stronger players within the game, and we'll be highlighting some of them on the match, on the open field itself as we cast these matches. Now, the other team against them, Art of Conquest. It's not the other team. You guys know who they are. This is none other than Legend Ronnie's alliance, as well as Dragothian, and many other very strong players from Kingdom 16 who are a core of one of the more known alliances. They've had a great Lost Kingdom Season 2 going on, and now they're fighting for their lives. The match they had last week did not pan out the way they thought it would. Very close match, but unfortunately it did not work out for them, and now they are somewhat on the chopping block. Remind you that it's not about necessarily having to win two matches to get through. There is a possibility where if one NB8 fail in winning their match today against 0, there is a potential in here for more teams making it through with only 1 point. One of these teams will eventually end up with 2, but you can end up with a situation where you can make it to the playoffs with only 1 victory. It has to be the perfect storm, and AoC are fighting for their life right now. But again, bringing in almost 2.16 billion power, these folks are no joke. And I'm really looking forward for that 14 UTC matchup, because it's going to be a very, very interesting one, both in Clash of Power as well as in Clash of Strategy, and the personalities on the field. These are individuals that are very known through the community, not only by AoC, but also NB1. So it's going to be a really, really, really sweet matchup for us to take a look at. Now, that is the 14 UTC time slot. If we go take a look at the 13 UTC time slot, we have 1093 up against Warz. That'll be the first match we will be commentating today. And again, myself and Chiskel will be your commentating team of the day. If you guys enjoy the cast at any point, make sure you're smashing a like on the stream. And of course, go follow the content creators who are all linked in the description, who are part of making this cast possible. 1093 going up against Warz is going to be a very interesting match. There have been a bit of situations happening across the top 32 kingdoms, especially the big ones, where individuals got locked out of alliances and placed themselves in wrong positions because of Lost Kingdom ending when it ended. Unfortunately, some folks got locked out of their alliance. Some folks who had to stay in a different alliance for Lost Kingdom rewards and for other things as well, they just might not necessarily have all their firepower. I understand that some alliances, not only 1093, but a few other alliances have been impacted by the end of Lost Kingdom the way it did and when it did. There hasn't been enough time from the end of Lost Kingdom to now for alliances to start shifting players around, so there is spaces within alliances. Remind you, everyone's flags went out the window, and so the amount of members you can have dropped by, I think, 50 members. Very crucial thing to keep an eye on through this match. Let's go look really quickly at the bets. I want to talk more in depth about Warz in a moment, but the bets are not looking very good for 1093 for Warz. I mean, 1093 are really blowing this out of the water. But again, now I'm telling you that 1093 might not show up with their full strength. A few other alliances have not shown up today with their full strength because of this situation. And I'm kind of scared for whoever is on that red side right there. These guys in blue might have the best day ever. This match is going to be a really interesting one to watch. Warz do not need any favors to be able to compete. Warz are no joke. Oh, I guess we don't have the Warz thing in here. My bad. Warz are no joke. Warz come from Kingdom 149, led by MKiz, and having one of our guest casters in their team, Big Rick. That is an alliance that is no joke. These guys have been having a little bit of a rough time here and there during their Osiris League, but it's primarily due to the fact that they were competing during a Lost Kingdom Season 2. So a little bit of their Osiris League was a little rocky just because of that situation right there. But other than that, the folks from Warz can put a really, really, really good offensive against 1093. They have been together for a long time, and they are kind of dialed in to the point where they can really make things happen without having to communicate. That's one of the things we talked about in the previous match we casted, where UCS was taken out by 96RZ. When you have a core team like the folks of Warz have right now in their Osiris League setup, these guys don't need to communicate. They've already been playing together for so long. They know each other. They know what each other is going to do without talking too much. And that's how comms stay clean. When you have a situation like 1093 have, where they might not have all their core team, or they might even be missing players altogether, I don't really know what's the situation with them. I've heard that there are some alliances, including them, that are having a little bit of these issues. So we're going to really have to figure out how this works out. But again, the betting looks very, very, very grim. You guys really think 1093 are that far ahead? I wouldn't necessarily say you're right or you're wrong. I think that this matchup is not as bad as that, but there's definitely a big advantage to 1093 as the biggest, strongest, one of the biggest kingdom in the game right now in terms of population and power within a kingdom. So yeah, it's not really a situation where it's optimal. It's not an ideal situation for an Osiris League cast and for an Osiris League match in general. If any of these guys are not able to participate at their best due to Lost Kingdom situation, it'll be a little bit disappointing, but this is not the end for either team. Right now, 1093 have a win under their belt, which means that even if they don't show up at their full strength and do lose this match, first of all, Warz definitely have a chance to come into this, especially if when we saw that C9N and Go GT, we have C9N with 2 points now. So now the fight would be between 1093 and Warz. And now the thing is, Warz winning one puts them at an equal, and then the next match will be the one to determine it. I don't think that they can all win. Someone will eventually come out of this, but if Warz can get out of this match today, they can keep themselves afloat. But if they lose this match, this will be the unfortunate end for Warz. The situation in the other group that we're spectating, which is the second match, the folks from NB1 and AoC, the match is going on in here as well. We still don't know exactly. I don't necessarily think that they have happened yet. As a matter of fact, I can tell you that there are, as of right now, there will be 4 matches on top of the one that we're casting at 1 p.m. UTC, and there will be 3 matches at 2 p.m. UTC that we will not be casting but will be happening at the same time. So what we will be doing is, as a request from the community who were locked out of watching matches in the previous Ark of Osiris time slot, we will be letting you know through the cast how the matches are going, what the numbers are, what it looks like. Obviously, if one team starts running out or running with a game, we're not going to continually update about that. But if there are any interesting matches that are close, we will definitely keep you informed through the stream. Now the real question is, what is there to keep an eye on in Ark of Osiris? So there are a couple of things we could take a look at, but I think that what Chiskel made, and we've shown this more one time already, but I think those of you who haven't seen it yet, it's definitely worth taking a look at. He compiled a list of commanders we should keep an eye on the open field, commanders in rallies, commanders in open field, that we definitely, more than certainly, want to be keeping an eye on. And so let's see what he has to say about these commanders, and maybe we'll learn a thing or two.
Going on, Governor? Chiskel here, and we are going to get a quick look at some of the very best rally leaders that you should see on the battlefield, and we are going to be on the lookout for to call them out to your attention so that we can hone in on just how effective these commanders can be. There are several legendaries that you should be looking out for, starting with none other than Yi Seong-Ye. Now, we all know why this commander is truly transformative on the battlefield, and that is because Arrow Storm, their expertise skill, which is unlocked when you max out every skill on this commander, is going to do area of effect damage in a circle instead of a cone, hitting 5 targets nearby. This is a huge amount of damage, and it is so easy to find 5 targets when the area of effect is a huge circle around the commander. I would expect Yi Seong-Ye to be paired, if he is the primary, with a commander like El Cid, who is also very, very powerful as an archer commander. Another commander that you should be looking for as a primary in rallies will be Alexander the Great. Now, Alexander the Great is a relatively new commander to Rise of Kingdoms, one of the newer commanders into the game, and they are optimized for being in the field and participating in rally leadership as either the primary or secondary commander. I expect that we'll see Alexander the Great paired with either Richard I, Charles Martel, or perhaps even Constantine, although Constantine is a bit rarer, more unusual to see this commander on the battlefield, and it's possible that in that configuration, Constantine should be the primary. In that situation, of course, we're talking about bringing full infantry, and my personal favorite pick for all of those is probably going to be Charles Martel as the backup to Alexander the Great for maximum effectiveness in the open field, and due to the counterattack that Charles Martel offers, making it very difficult to swarm that rally. Now, the next commander that you really should be looking for, because they are so fun to play with and also terrifying on the battlefield, is Khan. Khan has a tremendous rage engine if they are the primary. They require only 950 rage for their active skill, whereas most commanders require 1,000. Their second skill is lowering the amount of rage that it was required to fire off that active skill even further. And within the talents, you can find some pretty incredible rage restoration via Rejuvenate and other places, such as Feral Nature, so that you are machine gunning out skills, and it is terrifying. There's a bunch of commanders you could pair. I would argue that the very best choice would be a commander like Saladin. Saladin has a ton of that anti-swarm technology that I was just describing by reducing the skill damage that they would take. And also, they've got a lot of defense and attack, a little bit of march speed. Another commander that I really like as a pairing would actually be Minamoto, who is, in my opinion, somewhat underestimated for the passive skill Warlord, increasing the damage taken by the target by a solid 30%. Now, the last commander I want to talk about for rallies that you should be looking for is none other than Edward of Woodstock. This is a relatively new commander into Rise of Kingdoms, and they are insanely powerful in the open field. They have the single strongest nuke in the game, the single strongest, most damaging active skill, and I would argue that the very best pairing here is going to be with Tamaris, also new to the game, due to her poison elevating the skill damage taken by the target, and also the more poison that you stack up, the more damage that Tamaris is going to do. So because Edward's first skill actually does require more rage. This is the opposite of Khan. Khan required less rage. Edward requires more rage. You could see some really, really powerful attacks from Tamaris because it gives more time for that poison to build up and just do a huge punch. I hope that we start to see more of this commander on the battlefield, and you should be looking for them too. Hopefully you find this set of advice about who to look out for on the battlefield and which rallies will be most exciting to be interesting. And let's take it back to you, Gecko, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Chiskel, once again showing us which commanders we should be keeping an eye on the open field today. In the last cast, for the first time, I got to see a Tamaris on the open field, see those green arrows flying by. It's really cool to see how new commanders are slowly making it into the meta of the game. Honestly, I think that we're going to be seeing two matches that are going to be very interesting in terms of the depth of commanders and depth of individuals within them. There's going to be a lot of tier 5 players that are fully stacked that are not going to need to heal at all, and there will be a few tier 5 players who are going to be healing their butts off to try to keep up. We're about a minute away. One final thought for you guys, something for you guys to think about. Someone within the betting community of Rise of Kingdoms went all in on 96RZ. That is right. So now my question to you guys in the comments right now, let me know how many coins you think he won putting a pretty significant bet. Let's go with, I don't know, 1,500 coins into 96RZ. How many coins do you think he got out of that? Let me know in the comments below. And we're about 20-ish seconds away from the match. It's time to, again, introduce to you guys my co-caster of the day. Well, I'm his co-caster, technically. Chiskel Gaming, who is now on the call with us. We're about 11 seconds away. And in a moment, as soon as that watch button arrives and I can get into the open field and see the Osiris League, you guys will get to see that sand fly in the air. The troops come out of the gates of hell, and the Osiris match shall begin. So let's go take a look. Is there a watch button? I'm going to keep making that joke for as long as possible. Interestingly enough, there is no watch button so far. So I might have made a joke. There it is. There it is. Whoo-wee. There was no watch button for a second. I was like, oh God, not this again. But you know what? Enough is enough. Let's go into the battlefield and see what we can get out of this Ark of Osiris.
What is going on, governors? Chiskel here. Looking forward to covering this Ark of Osiris battle. Should be pretty heated, should be pretty exciting. Gecko, how are you feeling about this?
Oh man, this is gonna be a good one. On the one hand, I've been hearing a little bit of rumblings. Unfortunately, this won't necessarily be the 100% match that we wanted to see. Unfortunate circumstances with Lost Kingdom departures and alliances and things like that have cost 1093 dearly. I'm not down talking at all Warz with people like Ric Flair, Jabba, Big Rick, and many, many other folks in here who are very, very savvy players. They have their own merit to go on and fight this fight. But unfortunately for them as well, I don't believe they're going to meet today the full force of 1093, which they do deserve to go up against.
Yes, well, let me tell you, I have faced the full force of 1093 in KVK, and they are a force to be reckoned with. This should be tremendously fun to watch. A lot of players that I recognize Battlefield here, and I expect the start of this match to be pretty standard fare. Everybody's going to run out, they're going to capture buildings. But Gecko, I want to take this moment of calm before the storm to talk a little bit about strategy, because I feel like we could take a moment here and really benefit from elevating the vocabulary we have to talk about strategy. So for a moment, let's just define what is strategy, what is tactics, and then let's talk about some of the strategies and tactics we expect to see. So strategy is your big picture, high level approach to winning Ark of Osiris. This means you might have a structure-based strategy where you try to win by holding more structures. You might have an Ark of Osiris-based strategy where you try to hold and capture more Arks of Osiris. And of course, there's everything in between, where you might say our strategy is to take one of their altars and hold all of the structures on our side of the map, and that's how we win. What do you think they're going to do here, Gecko?
I had to cut that train of thought for a second on them.
Sure. Well, I'm feeling pretty good about the way the match is starting here. It looks like folks are starting to fan into the battlefield, and 1093 down 7 players is definitely an issue. It's definitely an issue. Chad, I hear you about that echo.
Not the echo. They didn't hear
also-
me either, by the way. That's another important thing to mention. We have a guest on our call who left himself on speaker, so sorry about that, chat. Anyway, continue.
All good. Well, hopefully you can hear us okay now, and chat, keep us honest on how we sound and if you can hear us.
Ooh,
The battle
just
is...
sorry, one more thing about sound. Chat, we got to do this. You guys asked for it, right? We got a little bit of the game sound in the background. Hopefully it won't be too loud, and you guys will get to enjoy that in the background with the battles. Go ahead, Chisco. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, we see things kicking off. We see rallies on their way down the field. A bunch of rallies all over the place. We need to start to talk about where they're going and what they're trying to accomplish. I see 4 Warz rallies. I see 4 rallies from 1093. So that's all the obelisks getting rallied by both sides, right?
Yes, sir. I see 8 rallies, 8 juicy rallies, 4 on each side. Troops pouring out everywhere. Again, we're looking at a 23 against 30, which I said while my mic was muted was a little bit of an unfortunate situation. 1093 fielding 8 replacements, 8, 9, or even 10 by now substitutions on the open field right now, and they're marching. They're marching and they don't even care. They got 3 rallies marching, a 4th one as well. they're going towards all obelisks. Are you thinking these rallies are going to hit, or will they break halfway to position troops forward on the field?
Well, I think this touches really nicely on something that we were talking about at the start of this, the difference between strategy and tactics. A tactic you can use is to send a rally at one of these structures, and I think the tactic will be to cancel the rally before they hit. I think that given 1093 is down 7 players, the way they approach the game, their strategy is going to have to change. They cannot try to use brute force. They're going to have to outsmart and win on the efficiency game.
Yeah, and not to mention that, well, at this point, we're seeing the tactics slowly and the strategy slowly revealing as well. All the rallies almost dissipate. 2 rallies are still going for 1093, but they are going towards reinforcing their own obelisks. The folks on Warz Z, on the other hand, also going defending their obelisks, but they do still have a 3rd rally on the bottom obelisk that belongs to 1093. That obelisk is full of a rally now, so I don't know how much rallying it will be beneficial, but they still can cancel at any point and move those troops forward to where that desert altar is right now. That's exactly where they are, in front of the desert altar, marching their way, and in about 50 seconds, they'll be able to get into that desert altar, and there it is, the breakup right there, straight towards the desert altar, as predictable as possible, because that is the correct play.
Well, I am looking at the northeastmost obelisk, and this rally doesn't look like it's going to cancel. Oh, wait, it has. Now the troops are retreating backward. They're headed, it looks like, toward the altar. Wow, this sky altar by 1093 is in trouble. There's only one single troop at that structure, and I think that Warz Z is going to be able to take this sky altar from the start from 1093, and the real problem for 1093 is that the first capture points are a solid 750. This is going to be hugely problematic, losing those first capture points.
Yeah, we're starting to see these buildings open up, each team taking their own. Blue team taking the bottom side, while red team focusing on top. 2-for-2 trade, even though, believe it or not, there are plenty of Warz Z individuals up on the top. 1093 holding on to both the desert altar and the sky altar. And you did point out that sky altar was very weak. Warz Z capitalizing on it and taking it from them. Plenty of marches here to reinforce this sky altar. Now we're looking at 3 altars for blue team against the 1 altar for red team. What really scares me here is, as you said, not only first occupation is hugely important, but it also sets the tone of the game. Remember that as soon as that happens and the buildings switch hands, there is a 3-minute cooldown in which neither team is making points, but at least the one team started doing so. So as long as they keep trading back and forth and this full domination of a building doesn't last too long, this can go back and forth. This is just the beginning, and the first occupation points will be really, really crucial to figure out where this goes from here on out. In about 2 minutes, we'll find them out.
It looks like you and I have spotted the exact same part of the battlefield here. This desert altar getting swarmed, a tactic that is very, very effective for getting a building in a hustle. 1093 wants to deny Warz Z the opportunity to get those first capture points. They've got a minute and 30 seconds to move the needle on this desert altar, and they're going to try to do that with this swarm attack. It looks like reinforcements are on the way, but they're maybe not going to make it. This is going to be really, really close.
That
and
reinforcement.
It will be very important.
No, and the Ethelfled stops to hit the J-Rock March instead of going into the desert altar. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yes, there's a couple things there. The tactic that you can use in that situation, assuming you already had 1 march in the structure, and you can only have 1 march in that structure, is to retreat your weak march out and put your full march in. And that, I feel like, is an underutilized tactic. You're right, Gecko. That player should have been in that altar, not outside of it.
Yeah, so one of the things that are really key that you just mentioned, and it's one of the most important things we just don't see enough people do, is you got to understand that the kills you're getting on the open field on these marches are fantastic. Good job. But if you sacrificed your one march into the desert altar to hold on to it for another 20, not even 20 seconds, for another 5 seconds against the rally plus the swarm, of course, you're not going to do as much damage as a 1v1 on the swarm on the side. But those 5 seconds you're holding on to the desert altar might be everything your team needs to get another 2 marches in. And then from there, get another 2 marches in again. And hold on to the building as well as hold on against the swarm. It is a must. You have to keep holding on to the building no matter what. Swarming the outside is just not good enough. And that outside swarm will not turn on you on the open field. They're focused on the building. Do exactly what Chiskel said. Get that march out of the building and stick a new one in and just sit right next to the red marches and wait for the next time that you had to get in. That's what had to happen
So
there.
given the texture of the first part of this matchup and how things are unfolding, I think the strategies that the two groups need to use are starting to become very clear. If you are in Warz's position, and if you're in your own Ark of Osiris League or non-Osiris League battle, you really should be very, very aggressive if you have more players than the enemy. Given that Warz has 7 more players, which is a lot more marches on the battlefield, what, like 35 more marches worth of troops? You should be in the driver's seat pushing very, very hard, possibly down to the obelisk, but definitely for those structures that are generally perceived to be less important. The Shrine of Life would be a structure that should be easy for you to capture. The Shrine of War should be easy for you to capture because 1093, their strategy has to be prioritizing the highest point buildings because they just can't be everywhere they need to be. So they've got to play a more defensive or risky game in order to hang here, and that's going to be a really tough place to play from.
So first occupations have gone in favor, unfortunately, for the guys at red to blue. We were expecting this. 7 marches, 7 full governors not on the field, 35 marches altogether. I mean, what do you do at this stage? Kind of like what you were pointing and hinting at, that really these guys either have to play extremely defensive or very, very, very loosely and take risks. I still don't see that big of a gap between the folks at Warz and 1093. As a matter of fact, 1093 are winning the points per minute game at this stage. And even though, yes, the guys at Warz, the blue team, are about 1,000 points ahead, it doesn't mean much when in about 7 or 8 minutes, the red team will have those points back as the delta closes since they're winning the points per minute game. The real question is, everything is blinking all over the place, but what is happening in the center? The center will tell us the story, and that is 1093, as of right now, locking it up.
Yeah. Usually that is how I tell who's in control of the battlefield. Is the way I evaluate it personally is I look to see how are the structures and who's got enough marches left over to be in the center. And if it's relatively even off to the sides, which actually right now it is, and red is in the center, it's entirely possible that 7 marches down, 1093 is in the driver's seat of this match.
Yeah, they're 7 governors down is just unbelievable to see that, you know, this is a team, this is one of the biggest alliances in the game. This is the biggest kingdom in the game in terms of population, power, and everything. And even when you field in those who are substitutes, and that doesn't make them any lesser players or any lesser quality warriors, they just made it to, they didn't make the first cut. They're still very strong players. You're letting 10 of them onto the open field, and you are still in the driver's seat. It goes to show the mighty and strength that is 1093. Even with their secondary lineup, they're giving Warz a really, really hard time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see that Warz is playing a little bit into the strategy that 1093 wants. They're rallying a desert altar that is easy for 1093 to reinforce, and that's a thing they wanted to pay attention to anyways because it's more points. So what I would be focused on if I was in Warz right now is hitting a structure like the Shrine of War, hitting a structure like the Shrine of Life, because the second that they move away from these altars to defend those objectives that are worth less points per minute, they make themselves way more vulnerable to a scarier situation, which is losing their altars. Now, I want to call attention to commanders, because in the pregame we talked about this.
I hate you. You just stole my thoughts.
1093, I mean, you and I, great minds think alike, right? So 1093 is using defensive captains. They're using Richard I, and I would guess Charles Martel as a secondary. Yes, it is. As a very, very, very tanky defensive configuration. They're not trying to kill all the marches hitting the structure. They're trying to stall for as long as possible so that they have more time to bring in reinforcements. And I think that is a fantastic play. On the rally front, we see Khan is at the helm driving a rally here. Very, very high DPS, damage per second. Great choice as a rally lead, but not going to be enough to cut through the tankiness of the armies that are here.
The one thing that I really have to point out is look at the honey trap that is this sky altar. Slowly and steadily more blue marches come into, okay, I'll give it that last little nudge. I see 3 more coming in, a 4th one on its way, and the red team, with only, I see 2 marches fighting in the open field. That's understandable, but the majority of them just sitting out here to reinforce this building out. Finally, Lion King of 93 decided he had enough. He's going to go up against the rally a little bit. But this is a really, really interesting thing to look at. These guys know that all they need to do is they got to keep stalling. Why? Because they have 3,000 juicy points marching in the form of Olivia, an ex-JWM member, back home towards a outpost. This is 3,000 points and it puts them in the lead. So for them, this is perfect. All they got to do is keep the guys at Warz entertained and keep their eyes off the prize. Now, the one other thing that is really, really important to hone in that you mentioned was rallying the Shrine of War and the Shrine of Life. You and I, as well as I would say Dragothian and every other caster and every other content creator and really every other leader would say the most important buildings are the altars. They are the big point buildings. But that doesn't mean you should strictly focus on them. The buildings surrounding them, the Shrines of Life, Shrine of War, as well as the outposts and the obelisks are very important tools to be able to use to distract your opposition from the altars. Just like you mentioned, 1093 are locking down these altars, which means now Warz needs to figure out how to divert the attention so they can open a crack and get into one of these altars.
That's right. I mean, if you're in Warz's position, you launch a rally on both, so that 1093 feels like they need to be defending both of them. But you should put all your focus in the one that they think, the enemy, 1093, thinks is less important, right? So I would be rallying both the Shrine of War and the Sky Altar, but then focus that swarm instead on the Shrine of War, because if you're 1093, you have to prioritize the altar over the shrine, in my opinion. And I will say, one thing that I would like to have seen as Warz was focusing down that Sky Altar with Richard I doing all of that healing, I did not see a lot of Saladin. I did not see a lot of Alexander the Great applying healing debuffs on the structure. And if you're not putting healing debuffs, that's a solid, 50% from an expertise Saladin for 5 seconds. It's 30% for 5 seconds from Alexander the Great. If you're not applying that healing debuff to Richard I, you're going to have a really hard time out-damaging the healing that he's going to do.
So yeah, Warz slowly and steadily trying to take over the map. They picked up a couple of altars away from the folks of 1093, and now 1093 is on their back foot on the points per minute by 10 points per minute. It's nothing very big. The one thing that is interesting is you were saying 1093 should be focused on the altars. Well, these guys went up for the Shrine of Life trying to distract Warz, which did not work. And in return, they ended up with a Shrine of Life. So what do you know? They took a little bit points away from Warz. It wasn't the worst play for them, and especially now that they're 24 against 30, they probably might want to start healing if they really want to go hard, and this is the time. Now, before we continue with this match, Chiskel, I need to cut off for 1 second to give our audience a small update as to what's going on the other matches of this time slot. So we have JWM against KW61, JWM leading 15,000 against 2.5 thousand. IKM with 12,600 points against FTKA with 4,800 points. NCB are leading the game against K9T, but not by a lot. 8,500 points against the 53 on K9T's side. And finally, UTB going up against K42. That match looks to be very, very close. 7.4 thousand or 7,400 points to UTB against the 6,700 points for K42. A mere 700 point difference between these two teams. We're going to keep you guys updated on what happens on the matches as the time progresses. This is a quick update. So far, seems like JWM and IKM are holding on pretty easily. NCB and UTB are having a little bit of a hard time against K9T and K42.
Well, you know, bringing us back into this match, we just saw a Lion King rally with Yi Sung Ye and El Cid, one of those combos we mentioned to watch for in the pregame, doing serious work, capturing the altar that is on the Warz side of the map. So now it looks like, whoa, a bunch of structures flipping. I was about to say that 1093 was holding basically the entire top half of the map, but now two of those structures flipped. Warz took the Shrine of Life, and Warz took the 1093 Shrine of War. Solid pickups. It's about even in the structure game, even though it doesn't exactly look like you might normally expect to see on the map. It's all sort of scattered. Who owns what and where? Normally you kind of own your half the map, they own their half the map.
Yeah, one of the cool things that happened along the way is because everybody took buildings away from each other, everybody dropped on the points per minute game. For a few moments, the folks at 1093 were in command, and a little bit after that, the guys from Warz started taking the lead again, and they're in the solid lead of about 60 points. Nothing crazy, but they are holding on to two altars. They have an advantage in terms of the Shrine of War that's supposed to be 1093's. 1093 doing exactly what they need to be doing, though. They're going for outposts. They're going for buildings to try to distract. They even tried to rally the obelisk up on the top. Lion Reaper on his way to the Shrine of War on the blue side. So 1093 are not letting go of the pressure at all. And even though...
Here's what I find interesting on the topic of pressure. We're looking at this part of the screen here. The commander that's at the helm for this rally is a Richard the First. That is not a commander that actually applies a lot of pressure. Dragothian talked in the previous streams about how you really want a high damage attacker typically to be leading that sort of a rally. Of course, it looks like the swarming armies are going to make that totally irrelevant, and they may take the structure anyways.
I think that one point that is interesting is when you have a rally, first and foremost, the individuals around who are trying to defend on the open field will swarm that rally. If these folks knew that they had this Mr. 1-2 with 3 marches, Shin Jen, one of the stronger players in 1093, an ex-K58 member, he has, trust me when I tell you, every good commander you can think of. If they knew they're going to have this good of a swarm, maybe a rally with a Richard was a play, was an actual intended play to make Warz focus on the rally, which is very tanky, while the swarm does the actual work. We're seeing a lot of different ways of utilizing rallies, solo swarms, and in general, on ways of defending as well as taking buildings in these Ark of Osiris's. I wouldn't be too surprised if that was intentional.
Yeah, well, you bring a really good point there. Our attention should go to the fact that originally, the high-level tactics were all you needed to bring to Ark of Osiris, and you could do really, really well, right? Like, figuring out what to rally and when was good enough. But now, at this level of play, you don't need to just rally the right thing at the right time. You need to bring the correct pair of commanders, and you can really get punished if you don't bring the correct pair of commanders. So it could have been a very intentional choice to say, hey, I bet you they're going to swarm this rally. Let's make it a little more tanky. And because we're rallying something on our side of the battlefield anyways, right? They got to walk all the way across the battlefield to reinforce this. We're fine. We got plenty of time.
So we're kind of staring right now at the Shrine of War on Warz's side because I wanted to bring the attention of the chat the fact that we have a Edward with a YSG hitting this Shrine of War with a Richard in it. We know how tanky Richard is, and we've seen how it's been utilized. By the way, Maximus right there doing what we were talking about, pulling out a weaker army and sending in a fresh full one to hold on to the Shrine of War. This is what will let Zed lay and Maximus again to get back into the Shrine of War and continually reinforce it. Exactly what we were saying. The 10 extra seconds Maximus gave Zed to get in is everything Warz are going to need to hold on to this. But we're seeing this YSG and Edward doing a decent amount of damage. And even though they're not doing tremendous damage, they're holding on against this Richard really, really, really well and taking him out. It's not an everyday thing to see a one-on-one rally on a building with a Richard in it and the Richard actually fallen.
Yeah. I think a part of that is getting to the micro optimizations here. We're seeing archers hitting infantry, and guess what? That archer rally led by Lion Reaper counters the Richard I in there because archers counter infantry, and I think that makes a really big difference here.
But the crazy thing is nobody is on the open field trying to help. So for the first time, we're seeing exactly what you're saying, how the how'd you call it?
Micro optimizations.
Micro optimizations, thank you. How the micro optimizations are working in the favor of Lion Reaper. And there have been a few people coming in here to try to hit this rally. This rally initially had 2 other marches hitting it, but Yi Song-ye in the background, my man, with this Edward in the front, just... I'm still looking at this Richard, and I'm amazed how well it's melting and how long Lion Reaper is holding.
You know what I can't believe is that it looks like 1093 has basically got another free arc carry, and the carrier emoting bye
Olivia.
As they take off. They are marching their way to completely scot-free. There is one army nearby that might try to do some interference, but there's another 8 marches from 1093 to protect the carrier here. I'm a little baffled that the strategy right now is to just give away the arc. I mean, if you're giving away arcs, you've got to win the structure game. So down still 6 players, 1093 has got marches to spare to hang out in the center and carry the stick back and even protect it really cleanly.
Andrea making the play of a lifetime. Making a play of a lifetime. This is an individual with a nice, beautiful Belisarius, less than half HP, making super speed, extra buffs. Look at him running around. He was way behind the Arc Carrier. Way, way, way behind. And the Arc Carrier turned to left. And Rhea said, ooh, provisions. Went into the provisions tile, and now extra speed, plus the fact that he can hop over that tile. He managed to get in front of Olivia, and all of a sudden, Olivia is still safe. And this is still marching. But this guy is being a serious pain in the butt right now. And they're all trying to catch him. Listen, I love the strategy. I love the seriousness. But chat, we gotta get some credit for this man right here. He's pretty much pulling the middle with every single red march in here, just being a complete nuisance. I think this is hilariously funny.
You know what would be really impressive is if he actually is able to take the outpost because nobody's in it. I wonder if they're gonna try.
And he's gonna try.
Yep, there
and
it is.
He got it.
There it is. Now, I mean, look. Red is here to go deal with it, right? 1093 is here to go deal with it. It's those hasty departure talents, Gecko, that you're really enjoying watching there. Every time you depart a structure, you get 60% additional march speed for a solid 10 or 15 seconds, which is really a lot of speed for a lot of time. Meanwhile, the carrier is slowed by 50%.
And
so
Jabba, look at Jabba. Jabba made it to the carrier. Jabba dropped the arc. My goodness.
Wow.
Look at this.
There's a small window here where the folks from Warz could swarm the outpost of Seth, take it, and prevent it from being captured. Meanwhile, send individual armies out to go continue to stall the Ark of Osiris.
Man, oh man, that's the kind of plays we're looking for. That's the kind of plays we're looking for. That's what all this situation was, a solo hero trying to make a play. Unfortunately, the Ark will be delivered for 1093, unfortunately for the folks in Warz, of course. But that was really really, really fun to watch. It's so cool to see how creative people can get on the open field utilizing all these mechanics, hasty departure, the fact that you have a little bit of extra march speed when you drop below the 50% march size. I mean, these guys are utilizing every single trick in the book to try to get away with sending a half-beaten Osiris down and try to stop an Ark carrier, which was a little bit successful. I love it. I find it creative as hell.
It was cool. It was really cool. The thing it opened up that didn't end up happening, but was possible, was it opened up the ability for blue to start to move down the field and to get to where the Ark was, because all those armies from 1093 were focused on the Osiris. They basically had a free trip down the field, because instead of focusing on them, they were all tunnel vision on the Osiris, who really wasn't going to do all that much anyways, right, except be a nuisance. And the thing that I'll call attention to as a tactic that I see not played correctly in most cases is that it's easy to get caught up in a fight on your side of the battlefield relative to the position of the Ark of Osiris. You need to be on the enemy's side of the battlefield relative to the Ark of Osiris, not behind it, right? You need to get in front of where it's going, not battling behind where it was on your side. You need to just run past all those armies, even if that means you're going to get hit, to get in front of where it could go next.
I gotta really point out that I'm loving to see the different types of commanders that people are using. You pointed this out earlier, and now we're taking an in-depth look at that. This is the third really, Richard rally we're seeing. Now, I can buy that Ric Flair is trying to distract on the Sky Altar because I'm seeing not only the Shrine of Life, but also the Shrine of War on that side being contested. So I, again, am a very big believer that these Richard rallies are intentional for stalling. I saw the same thing being done by 1093 by an individual I know very well, Shingen. Again, he has every possible commander. He can pretty much get you from point A to point B with every type of march you're looking for in terms of a rally. If he chose to put a Richard up front, it's not a mistake. And so I'm trying to keep an eye on who of these individuals are in charge of stalling and who are the actual spears, because I'm starting to have a feeling that not everybody here is here to really win the fight. Some of these guys are just here to stall.
Yeah, I will say, if you're on Warz's side of the field right now, down a little over 5,000 points, with only 26 minutes left, there's not much time. I really hope they're thinking real hard about how they're going to get back ahead. And I'm inclined to believe it's got to be the next Ark of Osiris, which spawns in 5 minutes. The problem is that it's still too early to abandon structures. It's still way too early to abandon structures. So if you're 1093, you need to be holding on to what you've got. And if you're Warz, you need to be really aggressive right now. Try to take something and then put all your focus into the Ark. And what do you know? If you look down at this desert altar on the 1093 side of the map, we see they are trying to rally and swarm it to get that structure edge.
It's interesting that we see some of these very known individuals. We have Big Rick on the field right now. We have Jabba La 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 on the open field right now as well. A few individuals like Lion King of Kingdom 93. These are all big names, big players who have been here for a long time and built the communities and alliances that are around them. These are veteran players, and when you see Big Rick pulling out the Saladin, you know exactly what his plan was. And if you weren't sure, you can take a look at Hawk and Hawk all around, showing exactly what forces they were meant to hit with. A full cavalry rally, sure, but the infantries on the side are doing massive damage. I'm starting to like this type of combo of hits. When you see a full cavalry rally, but a swarm of full infantries, kind of trying to abuse that little extra edge of infantries countering calves, cavalry, countering range, and range countering infantry. And I'm liking this. People are not defending necessarily with one set of types of troops, not necessarily paying attention to that, and sometimes having that extra second type of troop doing the swarm can be super beneficial.
Yeah, well, I love that the Saladin rally was countering the Richard healing. Mm-hmm. And I would make the argument that if infantry are swarming a building, and Dragothian, I know, is a huge advocate here of saying that, gosh, I really don't like tanky armies hitting buildings. The advantage of a tanky army being a part of a swarm on a building is that it's not just going to get melted when it attacks into hugely superior numbers, right? If you're using a march of 310,000 attacking to 1.5 million, you could be in some serious trouble, but a Richard's going to last a while, and he's going to be debuffing that target, making it do less damage. Not such a bad choice.
Not at all. Now, 24 minutes remaining in this match. Chat, you guys kind of are seeing a pattern, but this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. Plenty of time with an Ark coming up in 2.5 minutes, and the blue team leading the points per minute game. They have 6 governors more on the open field, so they still have plenty of time to come back into this. But it is time to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think is going to happen in this match? Let us know in the comments. Hashtag Warz or hashtag 1093. Who is going to win this? Let's see what you guys have to say. I want to see the spam in the chat, and I'll let you guys know live on the stream what we see the community saying. On top of that, of course, this cast is brought to you by Lilith Gaming and all the sponsored content creators. Everyone's links are in the description down below, including myself, Chiskel, Dragothian, and Shinchi. If you guys want to come hang out, support us a little bit, hit that subscribe button, come say hi, leave a comment in our latest video. 1093's flying in the chat as of right now. And oh my goodness gracious, it looks like they are being favorited right now with 6 players short.
Well, let me tell you, the thing that I see on the battlefield that is really interesting is that people are all flocking to this Ark of Osiris. I see about 15 marches for red and 20 marches for blue. So that's 15 marches for 1093, 20 marches for Warz, battling by the Ark of Osiris, because this thing pops in 1 minute, and then this is either going to put Warz back into the game, and it's going to be real close, or 1093 can shut the door.
Yes, sir. This is the 3rd Ark of the match. 4,000 points come with this Ark. It is the 3rd biggest Ark in the game. The last one is it's the 2nd biggest one. The last one being the biggest one, 4,500 points. Looks like with all the action and madness, you know what ended up happening? We crashed. What do you know? But thankfully, the whitelist function of observing works. So in a moment, we'll get back in the match. While we're out, though, let's update the chat on what's going on with the other matches. JWM still leading, very, very solid, strong ahead. 35,000 against the 7,000 points of KW61. IKM, 26,000 points, and FTKA with 11 IKM in a pretty solid lead. NCB seem to have finally figured out the trick, and they're at 22,000 points against K9T at 11,000. And finally, UTB and K42 is still going on. It is very much, very, very close. 19,000 to the 11,000 with plenty of time left. UTB starting to take control of the match, but there's still plenty of time for either teams. And now that we're back into the match, Chiskel, what did we miss?
Well, it's really contentious by the Ark of Osiris, and it needs to be. It could be the game-deciding factor, and it looks like our friends from Warz picking it up, but getting knocked down. They're slowly starting to move it toward their side of the battlefield, but the thing that I will observe here is that 1093 is starting to really push into the center, and they're gaining more and more ground, it seems. Whereas I haven't seen Warz getting quite as much ground in terms of presence on the field. So I think that the starting to sway in favor of 1093 in the middle. And honestly, this could just turn into a stall. If you're 1093, you don't need to capture this Ark of Osiris. You just need to prevent the other team from capturing the Ark of Osiris. 20 minutes, though, is a long time to stall.
Yes, sir. And kind of like I had to stall while coming into the match, telling you guys about the other matches scores that actually worked out really well. Warz are not here to stall. Warz are rallying 3 buildings while the middle fighting is going crazy. Now they're utilizing their advantage. They know that 1093 does not have that many marches out. If they're putting all their baskets in the center, this is when Warz need to take these buildings back. If they manage to take the 3 buildings they're rallying, 2 altars, and the Shrine of War, first and foremost, the faster the Shrine of War goes in favor of Warz, the better it is for them in the center, although it seems like the rally on this side will not be successful. On top of all that, if they take away these altars, which the Sky altar seems to be decently well defended, but there's still plenty of presence by Warz, as well as the Desert altar that's being very much contested by Big Rick again. If they take these buildings away from 1093, everything is still open, because we're now looking at 300 points lead, even more in the favor of blue team, who can catch up even with this arc.
Let me jump in to summarize what I'm seeing here, which is I see 3 failing rallies on 1093 structures, and I see 1093 gaining more and more presence in the middle. This is concerning for Warz. I think that not only are they not getting these 3 buildings, they're also not getting the Ark right now. I feel like 1093 is driving.
Oh, they're definitely driving. No doubt in my mind they are definitely driving. But this was the move to try to take the wheel, you know? So you ever had a friend, you're sitting right next to him in the car, and then he decides, you know, I got to do something. Hey, hold the wheel for a second. That ever happened to you? I hope it didn't. It's not a fun story. But regardless, this is what they tried to do. They tried to grab that steering wheel and try to steer 1093 away from their course. 1093 holding strong as a freaking rock. All these buildings, the only one that's looking a little scary is the Desert altar at the bottom, which has reinforcements right next to it to keep helping it. But Hawk and Big Rick are doing big damage, and I do believe this Desert altar will go in favor of Warz. But other than that, the Sky altar, very well defended, very well secured. This is not going anywhere. Shrine of War stopped blinking. And this Ark of Osiris is just sitting here, stalling. And actually Olivia picking it up right now. Just marching with it a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of tactics that we see working here. The defensive tactic that I think is working so well for 1093 is the Richard I Charles Martel combination. And now we see a getaway car getting off with the Ark of Osiris for 1093. They're cruising.
The funny thing is, I turn around and look at the chat, and Patrick Husnick says so many driving references. And the moment he said that, you said what you just said, which had a driving reference in it as well, getaway car. And I'm like, this is like, today is not our day. We are predicting the future. What the heck?
Yeah,
the chat is with us in sync today.
I mean, what's remarkable here is that it's not cavalry marching this thing down the field.
Nope.
It's infantry.
It's infantry.
It's really tanky infantry lumbering along. But let me tell you, you move the ball toward your side of the field and it only gets easier to capture it again. I think it's a very good play, even if you only move the thing a 10th or a 20th of the direction it needs to go toward its destination. Good enough. Good enough. And now it's going to be even harder for Warz to move this Ark. This is getting tougher and tougher for Warz. I'm not sure that capturing structures is going to be enough, because there's not going to be enough time to get a bunch of points for that.
No.
At this point, I don't think there's going to be 2 arcs either.
Nope.
So you could deny 1093 points by taking some structures, but you must get this arc. And that's not happening right now for 1090 or for Warz. 1093 doing a really exceptional job, though, in the right places with the right troops.
So even if this arc manages to go wherever it's going, I have no clue where it's going, but it's going somewhere. It has a 3-minute march on it. And you mentioned a strategy that I'm waiting to be the one to scream and shout while casting, I can't believe they did this. Where are the individuals who really, really need this arc? Like Warz right now, sending 10, 15 full infantry Richard marches whose job is to do exactly what you mentioned. roll the ball into their court. One after the other, sacrifice a full infantry, very tanky march to keep rolling that ball forward into their side. I think there's merits for a play like that, especially when you have 6 governors ahead. You can allow yourself to have 5 full infantry Richard tanky marches on the field. Richard Martel, primarily because you want to try to do a little bit of that extra counter damage. But hey, I don't know why people are not doing what you were saying. Roll the ball into your court. It doesn't have to be smooth, but it has to make it one step at a time.
Yeah, and right now it's moving step by step toward a 1093 capture, which will mean a 1093 victory. They've got to be feeling really good about how the center of this match is unfolding.
The Shrine of War being contested, 1093, not letting Warz hold on to that Shrine of War for too long. There's a Belisarius in here who I don't know if he's alone or this was a rally. I think this was a sneaky Belisarius who made it into a Shrine of War. One of the things that I want to point out that I think are super important to keep an eye on is the Shrine of War. Look at the distance the Shrine of War has from the center. You don't want to always show your hand when you're talking about the way you aggress the center, but having marches sitting in the Shrine of War, defending the Shrine of War, and in standby to go to the center, I think is one of the most interesting plays that I believe 1093 just made. These guys needed more troops in the center, and so they abandoned that Shrine of War, which is super close, and dumped those troops to the center. A very silly Belisarius, who was running around trying to be a pain in the butt on those outposts, got sneaky on the Shrine of War and got a jackpot. Now, those 2 solo hits that were hitting it were chunking it out of its mind, and by now, it's most likely gone. We will know that in a moment, as I did crash once more, and now we're back into the field. So let's take a look. That Shrine of War indeed goes back to 1093, and 1093 stalling this Ark. What is going on?
Yeah. They're bringing the Ark to a safe place, and they're just going to keep it there. And that's a brilliant strategy, brilliant tactic. At this point, their strategy is to make the opposing side win by 1 point, which they cannot do without this Ark. So they're going to go put the Ark somewhere it could never be grabbed. They're never going to be able to get a critical mass by players' cities to be able to run away with it. It seems like a really solid play, and then you just cap it right at the end.
Yeah, the difference between these 2 teams being about 4,500 points means that the 4,000 points you can get out of this arc, even if the folks of Warz would get it by some miracle, would not still bring them up enough to win the match. However, they are winning the points per minute game. It is worth noticing. But with 12 minutes remaining, any building that switches hands right now is going to take 3 minutes to start ticking for points, which means only 9 minutes worth of points remaining. And at that case, the only way blue team gets out of this alive right now is by taking the whole map, because as you mentioned, there are 4,000 points in the ready and locked and loaded to go into this obelisk whenever needed. And when that happens, the gap between these 2 teams is going to be so big that even if Warz take the whole map for the remaining 9 minutes, there are just not enough points per minute. And so, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, Gecko, this looks to me like it's game. I think that 1093 has done it. 6 players down. They're now pulling the Ark by their obelisk. There's not going to be enough time left for it to spawn in. And even if it was captured right now, and if Warz got it as fast as it spawned, and to cap it, they're still going to be down. 1093 has it.
I don't necessarily know whether that's... I agree with you 99.9%. I don't like to call it till the very end, but I do agree with you. And the reason I'm saying that is because we need to get a little bit of the chat to help us out here. Can we get a little bit of GGs, my friends, in the chat for both these alliances, 1093 and Warz? We are calling it a game right now, which we usually don't like to do during Ark of Osiris casts in general. But because we have a second match that is starting almost instantly at the end of this match, we're going to use the last 10 minutes of this match to kind of digest what we saw and give you guys a little bit of better post-game coverage. Since there are 2 matches back-to-back, what we'd like to to do at this 1 p.m. slot is, if there is the possibility to utilize the last 10 minutes to do some analysis, it's really the time we have. Well, we're going to take a look at the end very, very briefly at the table at the end, because we're going to have to swap the next match instantly. Chiskel, what's a lesson learned here if you are Warz?
Yeah, well, I'll give a quick summary of what I think I saw, and I'm going to want to watch the replay of this later. And then after I give this quick summary, I actually have to go prep for my Ark of Osiris League battle, which is right after this. I saw a lot of efficiency on the part of 1093. They had the right commanders in the right places. And I also feel like they put good emphasis on the Ark of Osiris. I was surprised to not see more opposition for the first Ark of Osiris, and getting the first one for free really propelled 1093 ahead, and they held that one Ark lead for the entirety of the match, and now they'll cap this last one when they have the opportunity, and that'll be the nail in the coffin. Really well played by all.
I think your analysis
apologize
was dead
that
on.
I need to go put on my boxing gloves, strap into my combat gear here. I'm going to go hype up for my Ark of Osiris League match. Gecko, thanks so much for having me. This was fun to watch, fun to commentate, and a pleasure as always to do this with you.
Chiskel, my friend, enjoy your match. Good luck to you guys. I'm going to keep an eye on you from the distance like we did with the other matches. And thank you very much. Again, guys, Chiskel Gaming, links in the description below. Go say hi, comment on his video that you came from the stream. Hit that subscribe button on his channel. Chiskel, good luck, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, and truly well played, everybody, from Warz and also 1093. Thank you again for this awesome game to watch. Good luck, everybody. I'll see you later.
And with Chiskel leaving the conversation, oh, our volume went up a little bit. Whoa. Okay, you guys can't hear it. That's a good thing. There we go. So there we go. So what are we looking at right now? 7 minutes remaining on the match, about 150 point lead for blue team. We've called it in favor of 1093. There are a few things that I think are missed out in here. I do think 1093 deserves this win. I do think 1093 are the guys who played the best on this match. But I do also believe that it's not only on their side, on their strength, but also Warz really didn't capitalize enough on the fact that they had 6 governors more on the field. When you have more governors on the field, you can allow yourself to spread wider. And when you spread a bit more, you're going to figure out the holes in the defense of the team that has less players, as these guys are going to start shifting left, right, trying to hunt you, rather than have all the troops and presence on the field like they should have. So Warz seem to have missed the cue somewhere. It doesn't mean that 1093 by any stretch of the imagination does not deserve the full credit for their win. They played a clockwork Ark of Osiris with 24 individuals against 30 and I think 12 substitutes. It is very, very cool to see what 1093 have built, and the fact that these guys have members who are all doing Ark of Osirises all the time just goes to show that even the substitutes who don't get to play as much in the main team get to get in and are super synced. I wonder if they do a rotation in their lineup where the main alliance doesn't always have the same 30. If you take 60 individuals and you rotate between 2-3 alliances, and every time you swap the people around, get different individuals to play with each other every week, you build better synergy with a bigger group. It seems like the synergy within 1093 is at its best. These guys did everything right. They held every building correctly. They were rallying everything they needed to rally. I can't say anything bad about their gameplay whatsoever. And the same can be said about Warz. Warz tried in every direction possible. They missed their cues in some situations, and they missed their opportunity to get a head start, especially with that first Ark of Osiris that was free to the folks at 1093. I think Warz are going to go back out of it, back home and kick themselves in the butt for letting this one slip from the beginning, really. Since we have a little bit more time here, about 5 minutes on this match still remain. Buildings blinking everywhere at this point. People going for individual honor points, among other things. We're going to go take a quick look in a moment on the matches that are happening on the other part of the server, I guess. The other matches at this time slot. Let's go take a quick look and update you guys what's happening there. JWM, 62,000 points versus the 12,000 points of KW61. We can call it for JWM. IKM, 46,000 points against the IKM 46,000 points against the 16,000 points for FTKA. NCB finally started to, well, managed to run away with it. 39,000 points against the 14,700 on K9T. For the beginning, that match was very, very close, and then it slowly and steadily started going in NCB's favor. We also have one more match happening, UTB and K42. Those two were also very close, around all the way up to like the 19,000 versus 15,000 points. But now UTB with 31,000 points and K42 with 17.7 thousand points. We can pretty much call it on all the other matches a win for JWM, IKM, NCB, and UTB. And in this match, the only red team to have won, surprisingly enough, our Kingdom 1093. And this, surprisingly enough, is strictly because of this. It's strictly because of this. It is truly impressive to see a team that is 30 marches below, 30 marches less on the open field in a game that requires you to spread as much as possible to be able to hold back. What a fantastic play. Chat, since we have a little bit of time remaining still, 3 minutes, let's open it up to see what you guys have to say. Any of you have seen a cool play or something interesting through this match? If any of you learned something out of this match, let us know in the comments. We'll shout out some of these comments as we go. And as the match ends up slowly and steadily, we're taking a look at individual points, everybody holding on to their 10,000 individual points to get all the rewards. All right, let's turn our attention a little bit towards the chat. I see Misfit Lion King very happy with the result. Very happy with the result. Super Beta as well. Super Beta as well. Very, very, very good plays right there by 1093. I miss my peeps in 1093, but I'll be back for Potatoes for Life. Basher 112. Good game to both, says Clint. Very well played. Who else we got here? How about JWM versus KW61? JWM have 62,000 points. KW61 has 16. Last I saw. So it's a win for JWM. 1093 will lose when the time comes to fight JWM. It'll be a great match to spectate, and I'm very much looking forward to cast it, as I am very familiar with the individuals on both sides. Some of the folks who are in the primary lineup of 1093 are ex-high members who I used to play with in Kingdom 58. So it'll be a really interesting match to see. I'm really looking forward for it. Loved Warz's Bell Sirius out, who took the outpost. D, I am with you. That was a very fun play. It was audacious, it was a little bit creative, and it was a pain in the butt kind of play that, under the right circumstances, could have worked even better. Amazing game, learned so much, new tactics, good job, 1093. 93 are great. Hope 103 and 93 will meet in KVK. It will be fun. Ooh, KVK Season 3 coming out, and we got a lot of things coming into this Lost Kingdom. Let's just say that this Lost Kingdom Season 3 finally should have a little bit of things that we've all been hinting for. A green arrow, meaning we see a Tamaris somewhere on this field, I believe, with this, with Jabba rocking the Edward Tamaris pairing. And about 43 seconds remaining to this match. We are gonna stay here till the end, of course, take a look at the final table, and after that hop to NB1 against AoC, and we're gonna have our friend Shinchi cast with me. Shinchi is already on the line and ready to go, but in a moment, you guys will be able to hear him as we swap to the next match. But for now, 1093. To summarize this in 15 seconds, 1093, 6 members below, managed to hold on and push, aggressing hard against Warz, who did not capitalize on the strength they had in numbers, and unfortunately could not hold back the mighty that is 1093. Victory to the 1093, folks. GG's to both sides again. Chat, let's get those GG's in the air. The champion of Egypt is indeed Hawk, who is doing an amazing job hitting the Desert Ultra at the bottom with Big Rick. GG's to everybody in this match. Let's take a look at the final report really quickly. Not a crazy amount of units healed on each side. A decent amount, something that we would expect at this level of gameplay. The folks at Warz as well as 1093 are very well versed with the quantities of tier 5s. Ark of Osiris score is really what set the pace here for 1093, which was a freebie essentially given to them by Warz early on, who just did not capitalize enough on the Ark of Osiris early on, giving the free first Ark of Osiris. Unfortunate situation. Hopefully Warz can watch this VOD and learn a few of their mistakes and potentially fix them. We're looking at a very, very competitive match, 15 against 21 million kills. The Warz actually won occupation as well as provisions, and they just simply slipped to the Arks of Osiris this time around. And now, swapping out of this match really quickly, let's go take a look if the next match has opened up for us. We are about to go into NB1 against AoC. 417 observers in here already. And as we get into the battlefield, a minute 26 remaining. Shinchi, are you with us? Shinchi? Hello? Uh-oh. Let's take a look, see if we can get Shinchi in the meantime. Bam! Look at on your screen. We now have Shinchi as our co-caster. Hopefully he will be joining me in a moment. For now, a minute remaining for this match to start up. There he is. How's it going, Shinchi?
Good, good. I had to switch into the Blue Yeti mic. From
Probably
Skype.
a better idea. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. I was watching the whole game here. It was very interesting how things unfolded to 1093. Very good job for 1093 here.
Yeah, but now we gotta divert our attention. It's K16 AoC against NB1 from 103. Our friends from AoC. We have one of the co-casters of this Ark of Osiris sitting in here, or somewhere in here. We should find him in a moment. None other than Dragothian on the field. And of course, some of the other folks who have been part of what AoC is for as long as possible, against one of the big forces in the game, NB1. And these guys are no joke. A few people missing on both sides. Some of these extra reinforcements joined in, and it looks like they now fielded a 30 versus 29. Hopefully, the folks from AoC will make it to a 30 versus 30. Shinchi, what are you looking for the most? What are you looking for the most in this match?
I have my Oryx bet on MB1, so...
So you're looking at an NB1 victory.
Yes, an MB1 victory. I have about 600 Oryx betted on this one. So we will see. I mean, we know that MB1 has a higher power, but strategy-wise, you know, AoC may be able to pull this off too. We don't know. We'll have to see how they are going to approach this game. Speaking
of who is going to win, as we know, Shinchi has his money on NB1, and I couldn't find myself into betting with those terrible odds, but you folks from the community definitely have your pick. Let us know right now in the comments, hashtag AoC or hashtag NB1. Who do you guys think will win? 13 rallies being launched by both teams. The folks from AoC, all the obelisks and all the outposts. The folks from NB, all the altars and all the outposts. 13 rallies deep.
We
My
can see
goodness.
Dragotin launching a rally as well as Legend Roni here too. So
Yes, sir. Here are the marches coming out. A bunch of these rallies will slowly and steadily start making their way out. We're seeing all of them, sir. Jazz, Cuba J, Ronnie, Zalmeth, Easy Company, and a few others, Dragothian as well. All these rallies pushing out to put troops in the field as quickly as possible, push them as far up, and grab as many of these first occupations as possible. Blue team, so far trailing a little bit in the buildings. They only have one outpost so far versus the outpost plus obelisk that the red team have already occupied. That is Legend Ronnie sending a fast cav into the obelisk and retreating, and two other individuals sending fast cavs into outposts. The other obelisk is being grabbed right now as well. Second obelisk in favor of the folks at AoC. No obelisks for blue team. Blue team starting to trail a little bit in the early game.
those are quick capture from AoC. Good job sending those T1 units right away.
The T1 units are really like the key to get the fast grab, but if the other team is really looking to aggress, we could see some of these rallies go across the field and hit these outposts that best case scenario are completely empty. At worst case scenario, completely empty. Best case scenario, they have one tier 1 in them. And so if this NB rally by Simon keeps going the way it's going, one of these outposts is going to go down. And it's not the biggest tragedies on Earth, but if the other team can put themselves with 1.5 million troops on your side of the map, inside 3 outposts, that's a very rough start to a match.
Exactly. And one of the things is that they need to really start capturing the big points, as soon as it opens up. Those altars are going to be big points boost for each team. So they need to start marching towards there as well.
And they're doing just that, pushing these rallies forward towards the obelisks of their opposition. Now down to 9 rallies. NB with 3 rallies on obelisks and 1 on a outpost. The folks of AoC still going strong. 2 outposts and 3 outposts and 2 obelisks still being rallied. It looks like these folks are trying to just push troops forward. And we're seeing these rallies cross paths next to the desert altar. The folks at AoC breaking the rally right next to the desert altar. That was their intention. But the folks at NB1, they're not trying to stop. They're not trying to stop at all. They're going for this obelisk that has a full minute and 10 seconds still to go. It might be decently secured. I see 3 marches on the open field right here. But NB1 really going after these obelisks very early on. Obelisks seem to be decently secured at this point in time. The top one seems to be in a very good shape. Let's take a look at the bottom, make sure that it's just as well defended, and it is. So these are 2 rallies that are kind of going to go to waste to a certain extent. But at the same time, look at how many marches the guys at the bottom obelisk are attracting. That rally attracting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 marches away from potential altars and potential shrines of war or life.
No, I don't think that rally is going to survive because they're going to be able to TP soon there. But look at Legend Roni, his Pelagius. Where is it? Where did the Pelagius go? It was marching towards the obelisk. Did they cancel it or what?
I believe, which one? They definitely canceled it. The one rally that was going towards the enemy obelisk, it stopped right next to the desert altar. They used that rally to move the troops into this desert altar. And now that they own it, they have a full rally in there that was waiting on standby outside this building. There is a little bit of a swarm by NB1 on this desert altar, and the worst part for NB1 is that now the folks of AoC can port to the bottom and start getting closer to this desert altar. This swarm, I don't know if it's a disrespectful swarm or an actual strategy. I don't really know what NB1 are trying to do right now, but unless they can somehow start doing massive damage, which by the way, they are doing right now, AoC need to really wake up and start moving really quickly towards this desert altar. Uh-oh.
Yes. And there is a open sky altar there too. A Gecko. They haven't really captured it yet. There's a... Look at the sky there. They should be capitalizing that for points and buff.
NB1.
Oh, no,
they focused on that desert altar first of all. They sent everything into that desert altar. Now it is full of blue. And now they have spare armies on the open field, which can go towards this sky altar. Now, I cannot believe nobody's gunning for the Sky Altar. 50 minutes remaining in the match, and it's been 2 minutes, a minute and a half since you can get all these buildings, and the folks at the bottom side for NB1 just didn't even care for that one altar. Everybody aimed at NB1 as the favorites of this match, but as of right now, I need to give a little bit of the edge to the folks at AoC.
Yeah, they are losing points big time here. Almost double points losing for NB1. They need to catch up a little bit here.
They definitely need to catch up. The problem is with buildings swapping hands, no building is closing in for any alliance, and the points per minute game have not been able to stabilize just yet. And once they do, 2 altars for AoC, 2 shrines for AoC, it's looking so far fairly even. Again, that bottom Sky Altar still not being contested. Finally, AoC will be the ones to pick it up. Nobody cared for it.
Yeah,
There's one
crazy.
march in there. Zalmet making it in, and now 2 marches by NB1 coming in. Master Thrall with his cavalry's tier 5 trying to come in and pick up this Sky Altar. Sky Altar now being a little bit swarmed. A lot of blue presence in here, including Super Shenron's rally that's going to cross through, potentially going to cancel. Lots of blue marches around here, and only 1 inside the Sky Altar. I don't know how much the Sky Altar will be able to hold, but it will be enough for at least a small reinforcement to come in. The march disappeared, but I'm assuming it's going that way. And when that happens, the folks in blue, there it is, have 2 altars, which is very, very good. And now they're working to get their potential 3rd one. Buildings are slowly locking in favor of the alliances. And AoC, 290
Now, what's interesting,
points.
Gecko, if you look into the middle, seems like the MB1 is in control of the Osiris here. We got about 3 minutes left. So as AoC is kind of spread out, taking all the captures for the structures, it seems like MB1 will be the one capturing this Ark of Osiris if AoC does not mobilize into the middle.
And to an extent, we've talked about this in a few casts. Dragothian, who's on the battlefield right now, has emphasized this, as well as Chiskel quite a few times, and myself as well. Look at what Ronnie is doing right now. Ronnie is coming with the backstab from the blue side to try to get into that center zone. 3 minutes is plenty of time to do a lot of things on the map. To lock in these many marches that early on to the center is sacrificing potential points per minute on the map. And now AoC with 290 points per minute lead, a lot of blue buildings blinking, and there aren't that many of them. I mean, the Ark of Osiris might be captured, but by the time the Ark is captured by NB1, they won't have any other building left. And so I don't really know what the approach here is yet. 13 minutes are down in this match, and we have 47 long ones to go. There is plenty of time for everything and anything to happen in here, including NB1 coming back and AoC winning it at the end, including a lot of different things that can happen in here. 47 minutes is plenty of time, and I want to really quickly point out and shout out our friend Dragothian, who is a co-caster in here. I thought I saw him in the center a few moments ago. Maybe not. Right there on the open field, kind of marching back with a frowny face. Probably shouldn't have emphasized on that one. But anyway, the guys at AoC so far, holding on to that steering wheel, and man, oh man, they're on the highway to success.
Big point difference here, 150 over 510 points, comparison here for both teams. AoC definitely leading right now at this very moment.
What they're doing is kind of funny. Legend Ronnie and Lion are trying to stay in the side, not push too much towards the center, wait till the Ark gets a little closer, and then they want to pounce. That was at least the idea. NB1 weren't born last night. They saw those marches right there, and they were not fooled at all. They're taking care of those while they still have time till the Ark spawns up. There are plenty of blue marches in the center that they can allow themselves 2 to 3 or even 5 marches to go deal with Legend Ronnie and Lion. So that approach might not work too well. The problem is there are plenty of red buildings all over the place on the blue side, and if blue don't start taking care of their own buildings, they might not even have a place to get this Ark into in a few moments. 210 points per minute in the lead for red. and they have about 1,300 point lead as of right now, 4,800 to the 3,500 of NB1.
I agree. Commanders really is going to play a big part here when they're capturing those structures. They need to be able to switch it out and put a real good defender in there so that they can hold on to those structures. It's going to be a big blow if I think the favor of the bet is over MB1. So if AoC does win, it's going to be big payday for a lot of people that betted on AoC.
Oh, bro, if I showed... I saw a screenshot, which I don't know if I can talk about it or not, so I'm going to keep my mouth very shut about showing it. But someone made bank. We're not talking like 5 figures type of bank. We're talking more figures than that on that 96 RZ match.
Oh,
My
I saw that
goodness
on Facebook.
gracious. My goodness gracious. That was unbelievable. 106,000 coins. Is just
I wish I had betted on that one.
hindsight is 2020, my friend. But for now, the Ark of Osiris has spawned, and
There we
NB1
go.
have taken it indeed. Now they are locking in red team and Ronnie and the folks Ghost and the folks of AoC up on the top. And because the map is an open movement map, they're carrying this Ark a little bit to the bottom. And instead
you
of
see there's a
going to the
rally there
top.
too.
Yep, the rally is heading towards that other side of the map for the outposts, on the red outposts. Here's the thing. The red team, AoC, currently own a big majority of the map, including 3 altars. But they're not still milking all the points possible. Now they're starting to close in more points, 330 points per minute in favor of the folks at AoC. At this point, this Ark is starting to be insignificant because with 1,700 points in the lead for AoC, this 3,000 point Ark will give the folks at NB1 a solid 1,700 point lead, but that thing will be out the window in about 5 to 6 minutes if the point per minute game remains this way, which will be plenty of time for the next Ark to spawn and the same fight to spark again. And as long as the folks at AoC keep holding and keep doing what they're doing, which is winning the points per minute game and making NB1 get a little confused, they're doing their part. This is not the NB1 that we know. The NB1 that we know is a bit more structured, has a little bit more of a strategy behind their play, which we aren't seeing just yet because I believe AoC kind of caught NB1 off guard a little bit. They weren't expecting
They're struggling
all this.
here. They dropped the Ark of Osiris. Now they got to pick it up and keep it moving so they get it closer to their structure. That's what they need to start doing right now.
And AoC are not waiting a moment. They're about to pick up that Ark of Osiris. There are plenty of blue marches in here to drop it back. Hopefully the click on the march can happen and the Ark carrier can be stopped. But as of right now, that Ark carrier is getting away with it. And if nobody stops it, oh my goodness, AoC.
Oh no.
So
Yes,
far,
AoC.
nothing happened
Okay.
yet. So far, all's good. They're still on the blue side. That now finally that march is dropped and the Ark is dropped as well. NB1 has plenty of time to get back into this, but this once again plays in the favor of NB1, of AoC, because the longer this takes, the more points per minute lead they gain. Although NB1 made a fantastic job taking over a big part of the map, they swung the map from red to blue. Once all of these buildings lock in favor of NB1 in terms of the points per minute, we might see a comeback. And another Sky Altar that's not well defended by AoC is about to fall. The Sky Altar at the top. Once that falls, the points per minute game goes in favor of NB1 for, I think, the first time this match. And if they can keep holding on like they are, oh boy, AoC's very strong beginning could potentially melt.
If you look at the other Sky Altar there, AoC is swarming. Yeah, they're going to take it over now.
So a Sky Altar was taken away from blue. Great play to keep everybody honest. They traded altars, which is really one of the best plays you can make at this stage for the folks at AoC. They're milking the timer. They know that as long as they have the points per minute game, that Ark of Osiris might be insignificant. And quite frankly, this Ark of Osiris right now, if it's delivered by NB1, it only nets them 800 points worth of a lead. So AoC have already closed a significant gap, and the longer this take, the more they will. Their march is walking that Ark down the field, and there are marches coming in to start hitting it and to start hitting it hard. But again, this Ark brawl is distracting the main game, which is the points per minute. And as of right now, once all the buildings lock up, AoC are going to lose the advantage as more buildings belong to the folks at NB1, who are now rallying an obelisk to even be more of a nuisance to AoC.
Yeah, that's a very sneaky move by Supa here. But who knows if it's going to... I don't think it's going to be able to survive that that attack.
Oh,
I feel
definitely
like they're going to
not.
start swarming that.
But that's exactly what he's looking for. If he takes this obelisk, at this point in time, it'll be fantastic for him. He can get a little bit of teleports and get himself this way. I doubt that's the play they're trying to make. What they're trying to do is distract AoC from take their eyes off the ball, which is the Ark of Osiris right now. Now, around the 20-minute mark of this match, let's take a quick break and look at what's happening across the Ark of Osiris, the Osiris League world. We have 3 other matches happening in parallel, which we want to update you guys about. White Tigers with 20,000 points against the 628 on Pokemon of 185. Pokemon of 185 with 7 out of 30 members did not show up for their match. So White Tigers taking an easy win right there. BBTH against OV, the Overlords Plus. BBTH right now barely leading with 8,800 points against the 7,600 points of OV. Only 1,200 points difference between these two teams. And finally, Anonymous Assassins going up against 234A. Anonymous Assassins with 13,700 points against the 5,300 on Art of War 234A. So far, it looks like, of course, White Tigers are running away with it, and it seems like Anonymous Assassins have started to run away with it. But BBTH and OV is looking very, very close. Where are we on this map? While I was reading and looking through the other matches going on, I see the map evened out in terms of the building control. The guys at NB1...
Actually, 590 over 510.
Yeah, the guys
right
at 103, the folks of NB1, having a little bit of extra points per minute as one of the Shrines of War is still not occupied by AoC. Once that happens, we'll be back to 590, 590 all squared up. The problem for NB1 is that AoC are carrying this Ark, and this Ark moved all the way from the top blue area to the bottom red area through the center.
They need to start bringing it back up. They need to start doing that now.
This is getting very, very rough. But the guys at NB1 are not letting go of anything. Rally and Swarm on the Desert Altar and on the Sky Altar at the bottom. Both of these seem to be weakened from AoC. If AoC lose both their altars, which it seems like what they're going to be doing, even for a few moments, boy oh boy, 4 altars for NB1 can be a huge victory, even though they are losing this Ark of Osiris. The Sky Altar belonging to NB1 at the top is being swarmed, not rallied though, by AoC. And there are marches coming in closer to the Sky Altar to try to reinforce it. There are plenty of troops in here that they can keep stalling a little bit longer, this Sky Altar. Right now, it looks like the march is choosing to fight for it. But the Desert Altar at the bottom going blue. The Sky Altar at the bottom in a moment going blue as well. My goodness, NB1 are slowly but steadily turning on, shifting gears. It seems like they were in first gear through the first half of this match, but now they've had enough and they started shifting up.
And they're finally taking control a little bit here in the map, which is good for me.
Yep, AoC holding on to grabbing 1 altar back, at least at that consolation price. Still, in this case, the victory goes to NB1, who are the only ones who are currently holding onto an altar that is ticking for points. The other 3 altars are waiting to be occupied. And so with a slight lead of 150 points per minute, the guys at AoC are slowly losing their lead, and the folks in NB1 are starting to close that gap. This first arc is only 3,000 points, by the way. And so even if at this point AoC pick it up, it's not the end of the world if the folks at NB1 can hold on to 3 altars and 35 minutes remaining in the match. And as I say it, an altar goes red back into AoC's favor. And the point per minute game still remains strong for the folks at NB1. And at this point, all they're trying to do is keep stalling. Look at the Shrine of War going in favor of NB1 as well. And they're not even reinforcing. They're just turning their back on it and dipping. They had enough.
No, AoC needs to pick this up and deliver it. They're not that far away to capture that Ark of Osiris. It will be very interesting if they can't. Looks like Dragothian's here also.
Yeah, the Dragothian's specialty is the Ark zone and area. One of the things that we're seeing is NB1 trying to be a little bit of a pest and go into hit this AoC outpost. And it turns out to be very well defended. Now the Ark of Osiris is marching, finally making its way towards the outpost. I don't believe that at this point AoC will allow themselves to just hold on to the Ark for a little bit longer. I think they're going to deliver it to make a statement, pick up a nice little 5,000 point lead and give themselves a little bit of breathing room.
There we go.
And there it is. So 4,500 points-ish in the favor of AoC right now. But the points per minute game tell a different story. NB1 with what seems to be 230 points per minute lead means that within 20 minutes, if this stays like that, the Ark of Osiris that was just delivered will be insignificant. And this is not ending. Buildings blinking everywhere.
They need to start holding these structures very, defend it very well. They can't let any structures really go in favor of AoC. We can see the Shrine of War is being defended well, but it's defending with Cao right now. If you go up there,
the Shrine of War with a Cao being contested by a rally full of what seems like range. And what I was keeping my eye on for a moment was the Shrine of Life that was taking a pretty good beating until a few moments ago when these extra marches arrived. That Shrine of Life is a great distraction away from the Desert Altar. We're seeing some marches that were Desert Altar designated turning towards the Shrine of Life. And this is when a rally plus a swarm have a window to sneak into this Desert Altar. If we open the tab here, I am willing to put good money the Desert Altar is being marched on. No? Well, good thing we didn't bet. Good thing we didn't bet.
No.
But I promised you that march is coming, and it's coming very, very quickly. Although, as we say that, the Shrine of War going back into AoC's favor. The points per minute game still in the lead of NB1. This is making me nervous.
I think AoC is taking back in control, so we will see if they're going to be able to capture those structures. We have Legend Roni attacking the Desert Altar being defended by a Constantine right now.
Yeah, and at the bottom, the Sky Altar being solo rallied, no reinforcements, no nothing on the open field, just a straight up rally. Plenty of NB1 marches nearby that are about to go into the Sky Altar and probably hold on to it. And with those marches going inside, it seems to be the case that the Sky Altar gaining a little bit of reinforcements and getting secured for the NB1. Desert Altar up on the top seems like a different story, though, with Legend Ronnie leading the rally.
A good switch of commander here. They've been switching commanders right now. Interesting. From YSG to Minamoto.
I believe it has to do with marches inside the building, so that the current general walks out, the next best one goes in, and that's why they were replacing them. AoC, though, starting to make a statement back. 3 altars on their side right now, and they're winning the points per minute game on top of having a lead. They're trying to stretch their lead even further. Nobody believed. Well, some believed, but not really everybody believed. The odds betting were completely nuts, out of their minds, in favor of NB1. And on top of all this, even folks inside AoC were a little hesitant going up against NB1, just thinking this might be the end. But it doesn't seem like it at all. It seems like AoC really caught NB1 off guard. NB1 did not come into this seemingly 100%. And even if they did, AoC have been driving this match for 30 minutes now. And there is still time left with only about 4,300 points in favor of red. But again, the way this has been swinging, it looks like AoC so far are driving more than NB1 are. But as I say that, a Sky Altar gets away from AoC. And the point per minute lead that they had of 180 points went down to 30.
Now, Ark of Osiris is going to play a big difference here. NB1 really needs to be able to capture at least one to get them close to AoC's score. Structure-wise, they're relatively close, but I think AoC is going to have a lead in here since they're being more onto the pushing side of things in here.
So the interesting thing to point out here is, once again, NB1 have the open field next to the Temple of Osiris. We've seen them do this before. The first arc, that was exactly what they did. And guess what? AoC showed up with the better timing, not wasting troops sitting here, and ended up taking that Temple of Osiris away from NB1. So NB1 are now going to have to be a bit more cautious. They're going to have to play this a bit better, play their cards a little bit better, keep them close to their chest for now. 3 minutes remaining till this Temple of Osiris spawns an arc. Plenty of time for AoC to get some more work done and then come into the center for a tactical strike to try to grab an Ark of Osiris away from NB1 yet again. If NB1 do get a hold of this Ark of Osiris, though, 3,500 points in their favor, and this match goes right back to neck and neck. However, if AoC pick up this Ark of Osiris, things turn grim for NB1, who, by the way, can still have a chance even if they lose this arc. It's just a matter of how quickly this arc is delivered, so a potential of more arcs to spawn is available. To the folks in the chat, by the way, who I asked this before, but now that we're about halfway through the match, who do you guys think will win? Let us know in the comments below. Again, hashtag NB1 or hashtag AoC. Previously, we had seen a little bit of an NB1 hype, a little bit of a Ronnie hype, some AoC, no AoCs all over the place. But now, let's see if the tides are turning and people's predictions are coming true.
Now, the question we should ask the viewers also is that who did they bet on? Who did you guys bet on?
I'm assuming the folks who are hashtagging the alliances they believe in are the alliances they bet on. Of course, if you're under the age of 18 or 21, depending where you live, I think it's 18 in the States too, though, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Gambling is no good. These are virtual chips that have no monetary value. Don't you think that because you can pick games in Ark of Osiris, you can go pick horse races? Okay, calm down. Anyway,
we got Desert Altar captured by MB1 again. There's still a lot of troops in here swarming by the AoC. Now we got about 1 minute and 15 seconds for the Ark to pop out.
330 versus 330. Blue, both of the altars that are blue are blinking, and the red altars are not ticking for points just yet, I believe. So we're at 330. One of them is. So we're at 330 versus 330. AoC taking the Shrine of Life. We were watching that swarm earlier, doing a significant amount of damage in here. I think that as of right now, AoC are still very much in the driver's seat. Unfortunately for them, the presence for blue is really, really massive this time around the Ark of Osiris. Dragothian trying to rally this outpost is a cheeky play we've been talking about for quite some time. Although Dragothian making this play and, of course, talking about it, the folks at NB1 are very aware of this, and you can see that outpost is very well defended. And this is actually a huge win for NB1. Why? They're stalling this arc, this rally as much as humanly possible. And these are marches that are not pushing towards where the arc is right now. They are taking damage. Even if Dragothian decides to cancel this rally to take these marches to the center, now these marches are a bit weakened. So interesting plays right here. AoC holding on to 3 altars, which are two of them are being rallied and swarmed right now. The Ark of Osiris has indeed dropped. And NB1. Hello. NB1 making a small... There it is. There it
They
is.
captured the Ark of Osiris.
And now it's time to make that move, as the circle didn't show up on the head of that march. I thought nobody was picking it up. Now comes the sacrifice of moving your way into a building. The one thing that really NB1 have to keep an eye on is this Dragothian rally. Exactly. Ashton is starting to chunk it down. Simon is coming to chunk it down. Those marches are also kind of stalling, and they can at any moment break up and go towards the Ark. It's a great play by NB1 to clear that field, even though they're taking a big boy beating in there because it's a big boy rally. It is well worth the time.
I think they're going to be able to capture this Osiris, so good luck to NB1 here. Hopefully they were able to bring home the bacon here.
Yes, sir. It looks like the march for NB1 is so far very successful. AoC's Dragothian rally is still getting chunked down. I wonder at which point it would have been a good idea to cancel and try to use that open field presence instead of a rally on the outpost that was never going to win. On the other hand, perhaps their plan was let this rally break, frowny faces run faster home than full marches. But NB1 are being a little bit of a nuisance. They're going after an obelisk that was a little bit under defended. This obelisk is a real danger here for AoC. It almost went down, and Master Thrall stuck a march in last second. That bottom obelisk, if it falls, it can be a huge distraction by NB1, who are also going ham on the AoC Desert Altar.
That's going to be a big play, this obelisk here. I think they're going to be able to capture. It's being defended by an UG here. That's going to be a big play from NB1. Good job for Supa.
So far, so good. We're not there yet. PGK coming in to reinforce that obelisk with as many infantries as he can fit in there. It'll give them an extra few moments. This is a classic example for you guys watching this cast, how important it is to get that march in and not keep it outside. That one march that made its way all the way into the obelisk allowed Majed to make it into the obelisk as well, which will now be held for a little bit longer. This allowed Meme Machine to pull out his march and potentially make his way back in. Hopefully he can get there fast enough, because this obelisk is falling. But if this obelisk if he manages to make it back in and hold on to it, it's the perfect example as to why even your one march going into the building can make a huge difference. And look at Meme Machine making it right back in. NB1.
We can see Supa here. He's going to probably just hit that obelisk by himself with his other march. We got Mighty Zuntu here defending the obelisk here.
Yes,
sir. See if he's going to be able to defend it. A lot of
AoC's attention is being diverted into this obelisk, which is the name of that play. While that's going on, a rally on the Sky Altar seems to be struggling a little bit. It might be able to take this out. Bottom Sky Altar also being rallied and now hit with a march on the open field. This will be a successful take by NB1. NB1 also contesting for the top Shrine of Life. And that Shrine of Life is getting chunked down slowly and steadily. NB1 are looking to flip the table on its head in a moment, grabbing two altars, an obelisk, the Shrine of Life, and the Ark of Osiris, which, by the way, they are hugging. They are not returning this Ark for anything in the world right now. They're holding on to this Ark. They're keeping it in their safe, in their area. And now they're trying to win the point per minute game because they know they have 3,500 points in their hands in the form of this Ark. And so why return it right now if they can put the point per minute game pressure on AoC first and only then return that Ark for a win?
I would have actually approached it a little bit differently. I would have captured that, collect that points now, because you still have 21 minutes. You'll have another capture here that would, if you can capture that Ark of Osiris again, it would put you into a lead later on.
AoC, though, massive hit. Top obelisk going, bottom obelisk going in favor of AoC. A rally hitting it hard, while the folks at NB1 return the Ark, waiting for that timer to come down. 8 minutes until the next Ark means it will only be available about 13 minutes before the match ends, which means there won't be a time for a fourth Ark, which means that last Ark is going to be the key for the victory. of either team. Now, you guys are seeing function blocked as we kind of disconnected. Let's see if we can get ourselves out of this match. We will stay function locked for a little bit. I am locked because this match is fully booked, and we're kind of cheating. So we're going to have to really quickly reset this and come in as a casting observer rather than a regular observer. When I disconnected, I got booted away from the regular observer spot, which was taken by someone else.
As you're trying to connect there, the obelisk here on the MB1 side is getting swarmed, and they're going to be taking over this obelisk back, so which is good in favor of MB1.
Let's see right here as we make our way back in. It seems, I'm assuming that all these arcs are very well populated, 500 across all these matches. Way to show support as a community to watch the different matches. Hopefully we don't have an issue. There it is. This function is locked, but it's not really locked. It is go away. We are back on the field, and NB1, my goodness gracious, three altars. They're losing the points per minute game right now by only 100 points, and they have plenty of forces to try to hold on to these altars across the board. Boy, oh boy, this is getting very ridiculously close.
It's a neck and neck game. I think that the next Ark of Osiris capture will be a good deciding factor for this match. If MB1 is going to be able to capture that may put them in their driver's seat there a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely will. The Sky Altar locking in favor of the folks of NB1 means the points per minute game swings in their favor. They're waiting for the Desert Altar on the top to lock in into their favor, but unfortunately AoC are swarming the life out of this. And even though NB1 has presence in here to try to keep refilling this building, there is a massive swarm in here with Majesty, Ronnie, Deathwish just going ham at this shrine, this Desert Altar. But the Desert Altar has reinforcements around it. So long as these marches make their way into the Desert Altar, they don't let it fall. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't seem like they're paying too much attention. One did make it in, good job, but two marches, full marches, walking backwards. This is not what NB1 want to be seeing right now. They need everybody on their A game holding onto this Desert Altar for dear life. While this is going on, the rest of the shrine, the altars locked in the favor of NB1, who are now 100 points in the lead. They were just 100 points behind and now 100 points in the lead, trying to hold on to this third altar, this third Desert Altar. They have both Desert Altars right now, third altar overall. My goodness, this swarm, it actually can be stopped. NB1 are doing it.
Yeah, they are. Who do we have there? We got Alexander the Great, and who's the secondary there?
Let's go take a quick look at what is inside this Desert Altar holding strong. Clicking the battle report doesn't seem to do much. It's not letting me. Yeah, clicking the battle report. Well, there's a battle going on right now, so a report is being produced as we speak. We'll have to wait until the fight is over. But AoC picked up a Desert Altar back. Great play by them, swinging back 150 points in their favor. Right now, they're not in their favor yet, but they're also not in NB1's favor, which is a big achievement. NB1 holding on to the Desert Altar finally, and it's about to start ticking for points for the blue team. Let's see if we can try one more time. Nope. It doesn't look like we're going to see battle reports today. But hey.
Yeah, I think it's bugged out right now.
Oh, good. NB1 holding on to a Shrine of War as well that's supposed to belong to AoC. And now the AoC Desert Altar is getting swarmed-ish. A little bit of a swarm, but nothing very crazy. No rally in here yet. NB1, 200 points in the lead. The 2,100 point lead for AoC is slowly dwindling. And the Ark of Osiris will spawn in 3 minutes and might decide this whole game.
Yes, and kind of like a good comeback for NB1 here.
Yeah, NB1 took their time. They started a bit slow. I think that they came. If you ask me, this is not this is not personal knowledge nor insider information. This is my personal opinion and observations. It seems like NB1 came in a little bit overconfident. They came in strong, starting with very disrespectful swarms all the way to many other power plays, which didn't really seem to work out very well against AoC. AoC is so well dialed into their strategy and into what Ark of Osiris is supposed to be that they don't cave to the power plays that NB1 tried to do very early on. And as a result to that, NB1 had to make up a very, very substantial bad start towards the middle game, and now in the late game they are less than 2,000 points behind AoC. They seem to have the center pretty well locked in, and 2 minutes before the Temple of Osiris is going on, Dragothian trying once again to rally the outpost on the blue side. I'm assuming that outpost is once again well secured. We're about to find out in a moment, as all of these marches are dumping the rally to go. Not a problem. We want to get that Ark, and we want to secure that win, is what NB1 are saying. 560 against 390 in the points per minute game, and the whole map is blinking.
We will see if there's going to be a repeat here with Dragothian and the outpost. Hopefully,
yes, sir. Yeah,
hopefully he's going to be able to prevail here.
I don't know if he will. These guys are not necessarily they were not born last night. They can see that rally coming out for a mile. And NB1 right now, the Super Shenron was solo swarming on the Shrine of Life, waiting for his rally to arrive. Once his rally arrived, he abandoned the solo marches, sent them towards the desert altar, and let the rally finish up the job, taking the Shrine of Life away from AoC, slowly breathing sucking the life out of AoC. 280 points per minute lead for NB1, and less than 2,000 point difference between the two. The center very well secured for blue, and less than a minute until the Ark of Osiris spawns. Red is starting to show up in the center.
This is a big shift right now. Great job for NB1 for being able to react mid-game and change their strategy here.
They've definitely adapted to the situation and seem to have been emphasizing a bit more now on rallies and structured hits rather than swarms and impromptu hits. Now, the most important thing that I want to see NB1 do right now is drop that Ark of Osiris on the correct side, meaning her manly Kino is supposed to be the one taking this Ark down. Hopefully, nobody on the other side gets a little antsy. That's 15 seconds worth of march that can be saved. The rally by Dragothian seems to still be hitting, kind of, but just like last time, it's not really doing much.
Going down.
Yep, it's not really doing much at all. Sky Altar of AoC being rallied and swarmed, and it seems like it's about to go down. And while all that is going on, the blue team with double the points in their favor. A little bit of a mistake on who picked up that Ark. Someone who is very close to Death Wish's march picked up that Ark, which is okay, not the biggest of deals. Death Wish's mark might not make it all the way to that Ark carrier, but Majestic Castiel, I don't know how to say her name, sorry, is marching closer and closer and is catching up to this Ark carrier, who is going to take a little bit of a beating, but there's plenty of blue to protect this individual. And again, the Ark starting to move towards the blue side, but we're no fools, are we, Shinchi? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We ain't letting that fool us again.
Oh my god. So, wow. Hopefully NB1 needs to pick it up and drag it even just for like 10 meters or something.
Exactly right. Exactly right. At this point, NB1 should be focusing on just moving that Ark more and more to their side. They have plenty of presence on the field. They can allow themselves to lose a few marches as long as each march that they lose makes a great progress on the Ark carry. A great example is the march holding it right now. That's making a very substantial move, even though Peace Frog managed to catch up with it. And he is chunking down that march. The march is making substantial moves. If it can make it all the way to where the provisions here are and maybe cross that line a little bit, it'll be a huge win for NB1, who managed to move all of this. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to hit that target, but still massive move by NB1. Keep in mind, my friend Shinchi, 3 altars are in the favor of the folks at NB1. One of those altars is the Sky Altar that is right now blinking, as there is a swarm on it who seem to maybe not be that successful. We'll have to see how that unwinds.
Let's see.
My goodness, this is getting intense. Less than 1,000 points between the two teams, my friend.
This would be a good comeback Ark of Osiris match if MB1 is able to secure the win here. They need to really capture this Ark right now.
Yes, they do, but they have been doing what they need to do in terms of the points per minute game to the point where even if they don't grab this Ark, so long as they do not allow AoC to grab this Ark and they maintain this lead on the point per minute game, I'm going to laugh very hard if AoC end up clutching a win with provisions, which Dragothian always laughs at me for. But at this stage, these guys are so close to each other, and the points per minute game is in the favor of NB1. AoC might want to start considering those provisions just in case. 10 minutes remaining is the time for you to get a couple of marches out to a few provision points without sending them back to your city. Hold on to as many provisions as you can and return them last moment. That could be the decisive factor. Now, if this Ark goes in favor of NB1, AoC are in huge trouble.
Let's take a look into that Shrine of War Gecko. It's going to be, I think that's going to go down and be captured by MB1 eventually. So that's going to be losing some points more for AoC here. Where is the Ark right now? It's stagnant right now. Hopefully somebody picks it up soon.
I don't know, NB1 taking this Shrine of War, my friend. Look at how many solo marches all over the place, really chunking down this rally. And they can at any point in time go into the structure to reinforce it. And so unless AoC make the mistake of not putting in an extra march in, taking out the weak march and putting in a big march in return, you might be correct, but they had everything they needed to hold on to this Shrine of War, which they still are, by the way. Ark of Osiris is in blue hands, and it's moving towards blue territory. That is right. It is progressing in favor of blue. And my God, this slowly and steadily is how we are gonna, it's either us going, I think that this match is either us gonna be, how did NB1 claw their way out, or how did AoC beat NB1? It's really, it's such an interesting situation. Point per minute evened out, AoC doing their job, and even more than that, AoC taking lead in the point per minute game as now they own 3 altars. Now the thing here is, Super Shenron is trying to take over the Sky Altar very quickly with a couple of solo marches, which he won't be successful due to a couple of other solo marches nearby him. This is where the Ark of Osiris is really going to start being meaningful. Now that AoC
it's going to be crucial.
Yeah, now that AoC are back into the point per minute game, evening it out, this is where the Ark will be the determining factor in terms of points. But Blue seem to have it so well surrounded that now really all they need to do is turtle it in. March after March, let them fall, just keep turtling it in. And that outpost of Iset is going to be a big target. If you ask me, we're about to see a Dragothian rally cross by. If a Dragothian rally goes by, I won't be surprised trying to go into that outpost of Iset. Although I believe if we will see that this time, that rally will break for open field presence. There is a march making its way to this outpost, so I'm assuming that's what that is. We'll see in a moment if I am right or not.
Hey, they captured the Shrine of War.
Shrine of War going in favor, indeed, of NB1. But AoC able to hold on to 2 altars is a little bit
bad trade-off there.
Yes, sir. Very bad trade-off. But you know what? NB1 don't mind it at all. NB1 are taking the damage, but they are snailing that Ark of Osiris towards that outpost.
Take it. So close.
Someone has to grab it and just push it in. It's just going to be grab it and push it in at this point. You cannot let any red march get close to this. A blue march picking it up, going straight to the outpost means big boy trouble for AoC. Who picks up the Ark? I don't know, because the game crashed. What do you know?
Can't see it.
Who picked up the Ark?
Some people, what's his name? Setsuna has the Ark. Some
Blue?
of the comments here saying that they can't breed Setsuna from MB1.
So Blue. Okay, cool.
Blue,
NB1
Blue.
carrying the Ark. Did they deliver
yes,
it?
They have collected it now. They've successfully escorted it. So the points now is 27,000 to 23,000. NB1 on the lead.
Oh my goodness,
Wow.
They actually managed to clutch that Ark in, and we crashed just at the peak of immersion. That was some immersion break right there, but sorry, Chad, it's blame Lilith, not on me this time around. 27,000
There will be
points.
no more Ark.
there will be no more arcs. 5 minutes remaining on the match. 4,000 point lead in the favor of NB1. And what the heck does AoC do now? They are in the lead, 70 points in the points per minute game. But even at this stage, if they pick up every single building on the map, they don't have enough. They won't have enough to be able to get out of this unless we start seeing my favorite thing coming in a little bit. But again, still a little bit of time remaining, about 5 minutes more. We got so sunk into this match, Shinchi, that I completely forgot we have more matches happening across the board. So 5 minutes remaining on the last matches as well. Let's go take a look at what's going on in those matches. White Tigers, 86,000 points against the 628 for Pokemon of 185. BBTH, 25,000 points against OV, who are the underdog in here and in the power sense. 32,000 point in their favor. OV taking one from BBTH. About 7,000 point lead in favor of OV. And Anonymous Assassins with a smooth win, 43,000 points against the 14,000 points of Art of War 234A. An interesting upset here in terms of power, at least. BBTH and the folks at OV going at it right now. And OV, I don't know how this happened. I'm assuming they have been on the driver's seat this whole time. I wonder how the league bets are looking on those matches right there. If you go take a quick look, it looks like the community was pretty broken up about these. It was a very even situation. 10 million against the 7 million coins on OV, 10 million on BBTH. Some OV folks are definitely going to get a little bit of rewards right here. And even though we thought AoC might be another one of those upsets, at this point in time, NB1 is clutching it last moment, and AoC picking up the whole map like they have to. But even then,
it's too late.
I don't think there is enough time to get this in. So with 3 minutes remaining in the match, chat, let's go ahead and spam that GG in the chat for the folks of AoC who had an amazing fight. But a big shout out to NB1 who were coasting through the beginning, kind of like almost not pushing the game too much. And once they realized, okay, we gotta step up our game and step it up quick, they readapted, and managed to break the pace that AoC had.
Everyone's putting GG.
Yup, when you ask the folks to spam GG in the chat, that's usually what happens, my friend. And yeah,
awesome.
Desert
great community that we have here.
Desert Altar being swarmed out the wazoo. NB1 trying to hold on to it, kind of, but not really. They don't really mind it too much, but they really don't want to leave any opportunity for AoC to come back. With AoC taking 380 points per minute lead, that'll be another, I don't know, 700 and something points in their favor. So 2,000 provision points all of a sudden, I don't think it's a thing. But just to keep that window open, I don't think NB1 are going to let that happen. I think that NB1 are still trying to get aggressive. You see the Sky Altar is getting hit a little bit of swarmed a little bit at the bottom. And yeah, 2 minutes, final 2 minutes, no arcs coming into play. Most of the map is red, but at this point, NB1 don't necessarily feel like they got to keep the pressure going.
Nope, I think they're going to be bringing home the bacon. I'd be very, very shocked. Very, 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 very shocked if AoC does manage to win, but...
it can still... I won't say GG. I haven't said GG myself just yet because I truly believe in the last minute madness that could potentially happen here. With that being said, NB1 seem to have realized that they maybe let go of the gas a little bit too much, and they're coming back in. Yeah, 410 points per minute in favor of AoC. They are 2,700 points behind. This probably is a little too late for the folks at AoC, but what a crazy matchup. It started with AoC surprising us very much, taking the wheel and just driving through, while the folks at NB1 had their legs up on the dashboard, chilling, waiting. And all of a sudden, Yeah, when they decided it was over, they just grabbed that steering wheel and never let it go. Half of these buildings are just all blinking. 40 seconds remaining.
40 seconds. I guess I'm gonna be bringing home the bacon from my Oryx.
Heck yeah. The more the better. Those juicy rewards out of predicting some of these matches. Although this match is not reflected in the score. To say that it was as close as the score is very unfair. It was much closer than the score shows. The fact that AoC managed to take a very decent lead and NB1 managed to claw their way through to finish up a match about 2,000 point difference between the two teams it doesn't do it justice. This should have ended in the last second as my mysterious merchant shows up. Defeat goes into AoC. GG to the folks of Kingdom 16. AoC Sambo taking the champion of Egypt. Let's go find out how many healing kills and all that good stuff these folks had. Let's go take a look. 12 million units healed by AoC. And NB1, 3,500,000 troops being healed. Very, very big final. Seems like a final hurrah by the eyes of AoC, going all out. Either we get this or we figure out what we do next. Both these teams completely forgetting about provisions. That is a big rest in peace for my theory. But hey, NB1
they're winning by 4.
NB1 losing the occupation game, but winning the Ark of Osiris game. The loss on the occupation game was not that big. That the win on the Osiris League was all on the Osiris score was all they needed to gain that little bit of an extra advantage.
Yeah, those last 2 capture were pretty clutch. I mean, they adjusted from the first one that they lost, which is good. Good job for the leadership on NB1 and being able to, adjust after that first loss of Ark of Osiris being captured by AoC.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Like, it's interesting to see in how quickly the match flipped, and it seemed like, okay, AoC are running with it. Oh my god, AoC are running with it. Oh my god, AoC are running with it. And all of a sudden, ba-bam, AoC was not running with it anymore. Quite frankly, it was a very, very good match by both teams. I think they're both going to look back at this match and try to learn some lessons. Shinchi, any final thoughts from you before we go back into the studio?
Nah, I just want to say good job from AoC, taking control in the beginning. But I think what AoC needs to really do is kind of look into this video again, watch what they have done as a mistake. But good job for MB1 being able to adjust mid-game and learning from their early mistake and winning this Ark of Osiris. So good job for both team, good effort, and good luck to you guys in the next matches.
Shinchi, it's been a pleasure to have you casting with us. Thank you very much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this cast was brought to you by the content creators of Rise of Kingdoms as well as Lilith Gaming. Everyone's links are in the description down below, including Shinchi's. Come say hi, drop a comment on the latest video, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and of course, smash a like on this stream if you guys enjoyed this coverage today. Shinchi, my friend, thank you very, very much. And
yes.
Yeah, let's get back into the studio, quote unquote, for a final farewell.
Awesome. Thank you, Gecko, as well. Thank you for having me here.
Cheers, man. So, our matches are done. As of right now, we have one more match to cover later tonight, coming up at 7 p.m. UTC. We will once again see Legends Gaming going up against OUO. That is the closest matchup that is going to happen at 7 p.m. Although we have seen Legends Gaming before, the folks of OUO are a very interesting alliance, which I was kind of drawn into going to take a peek and see what they can get done. I think it's going to be a very exciting matchup. Just like that UCS matchup, DSP matchup that happened previously, were super close, and turns out DSP won it in the last 2 minutes or so. But again, we got to witness UCS fall to 96 RZ, and so I hope that the choice of seeing Legends Gaming again, but to see OUO, will pay off, as we will get to see potentially another power upset. Again, guys, thank you very much for all your continuous support. If anything if there's anything you guys think we should improve, do, change, add, anything like that, you're welcome to drop us comments on the videos we make as well as in this video. We're going to do our best to keep improving the production through the match. I'm seeing a Dragothian saying that there was hardly any lag and just crashed in the last 30 seconds and that was about it. So it seems like Lilith took very, very serious this Osiris League and realized these are the optimizations we must make to guarantee it to be smooth. And Dragothian, playing in the second busiest time slot of the day, had a smooth match. Great job by Lilith Gaming. And as you guys can see, we are here to make the best possible experience for you guys with this Osiris League cast. And Lilith are here to make the best experience possible in game. Kinda. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this stream. Thank you guys very much for supporting the content creators and the community being awesome. GG's to you guys in the community. High fives. You guys have a great rest of your day. One more match is still coming up later today. So come join us back. Thank you again. Take care. And what else can be said, right? Peace.